है घर में. Are they thinking of their children? बच्चे पढ़ाई नहीं करते आजकल, क्या बात है. हमारे जमाने में हम लोग कितना करते थे. Is he thinking like that? No. Is he thinking कि after this diving I have to go there and I have to meet that person and I hope he is there and all? Nothing. At that moment he is 100% there. If he is there, if he is thinking all this, that fellow will jump somewhere else only. 100%. See, that is what, when we are doing japa, our mind should be on 100% on God, not on other things. So that person is absolutely steady, actually. It's a great joy to see, actually. Even sports person, it's a great joy to see them because they reach a height of attention. Same attention is required in meditation also. So he's 100% present there, not even aware of all those things, people and all the stadium and all. Absolutely. He makes his body steady. Then he makes his mind steady. Then he thinks about the jump, the somersault and how many he will do and how he will jump. The whole thing comes in his mind. Then he is ready and he jumps. Then the whole body and everything follows like it becomes simple. Not that he just makes the body steady and jump and then decide kitna somersault le ache, ek le ki do le. No, he has to think. The entire attention is there and then he jumps and automatically the body follows. Similarly, bhakti is intense attachment, attraction and desire to become one with that supreme reality, which is my own self. I don't want any difference. And difference is created by this ego. So I don't want even a little trace of that ego left. So bhaktya yuktaha yoga balena chaiva. One more quality Bhagavan says, by the strength of yoga. The strength of yoga is again through the constant practice of meditation. One develops this steadiness of the mind. Not the final stage, but throughout the life, constant practice of meditation and the mind becomes absolutely still. The vrittis and all have stopped and mind has become still. That constant practice of this meditation gives a strength to the mind. It's called yoga bala. The mind gets a particular strength. It's got a power. So just mind has got various power. We know about willpower. It's a power of the will. But this is power of yoga. Yoga means that steadiness which we have practiced constantly. That gives that great strength to this mind. So mind should have the strength to take the final leap. Just like sports person, they have to train themselves. They have to develop that stamina and they have to develop strength. That staying power and that strength should be there. So that comes by constantly training themselves, not by drugs and all, but constantly training one gets the strength. Similarly here, one has practiced meditation for a long time, the mind is trained. It has got that strength. It has got strength to leap. It has got that emotional strength of bhakti and this strength of practice, yoga bala, and it also has this abhyas and vairagya if the mind is steady. So with all these three, equipped with all these three, when one focuses one's attention on the Lord, on God, one attains Him. One more point Bhagavan says, Bhruvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya Samyaka. This subtler yogic technique. Bhagavan says that bring your pranas. See, prana is our life energy, vital energies, life. Our life expresses in this body as with fivefold, with five expressions: pran, apan, vyan, udan, and saman. These are the five expressions of prana. What exactly is life we might not know, but the expression of life is seen. Life itself is expression of that pure consciousness. Consciousness itself expresses as life. But life further expresses in fivefold in a human body. So prana is that life, power of life to take in things from the world outside. Even breathing in is the power of prana only. It's called prana. Then apana is that energy to throw things out from the body and even from the mind also. If you want to throw certain thoughts and certain ideas which we don't like, it requires that apana shakti. So that power is also of the life energy only. Then prana apan, this prana and apan are balanced properly. That energy which balances this prana and apan is also that life energy only, that's called saman. Saman balances this prana and apan. Because too much of prana or too much of apana can make the person little imbalanced. So both these energies are balanced. That is called the saman. Then we have vyana. It is the circulating energy of life. That whatever is there, blood and air and so many things are circulated all over the body. That is the transport system of our personality. It's very important actually. Transport, if there's traffic jam and all, then whole thing will be bad. And all our diseases are nothing but different types of traffic jam actually. Some bottlenecks, some jam, some rush hours, some road rage, some road craze. So different types are there. So this vyana is a circulating energy. The life energy only helps in circulating things. And then udana is a subtler energy which is required for, which is used for subtle thinking, for going into a state of meditation, or even for this final stage of liberation. One requires that help of this udana vayu. It's a subtler energy. It's that by which we can eject the life. We can, like in our computer also, that eject thing is there, which the disk come out. Okay? So like that, this is a eject energy, which is at the time of death also, this energy is utilized to disengage from one body and again get engaged with another body. So, and this is also used for subtler thinking. So these are the 5 expressions of life. So here Bhagavan is talking about some subtler yogic technique by which this whole life energy which is there in our entire body, it's also the yogic text and all, they say that it is it has special powers or spots within where it is more concentrated, like the various chakras and all. So here Bhagavan says that you bring the entire life energy towards up and in between your eyebrows. In a simple way, one can say that Bhagavan wants the entire our life and everything, personality, focused on this final leap. So full attention not only of the mind, but also of the pranas. It's like consciously dying into that Supreme. See, ordinary dying also we require help, and in the sense, if I don't want to talk too much about death, why we can talk, nothing like. So if somebody wants to die untimely, he needs help. From external help, some गोलियां खाओ, some ये करो, वो करो. But great yogis, they can die without external help. They can just bring that prana or leave the body, leave the pranas, do whatever. So this year, Bhagavan is talking about that conscious death, consciously bringing the entire focus of the pranic energy in between the eyebrows, because that is the point where when one focuses one's attention, it helps in that reaching that subtler stage of samadhi. So bhruvor madhe pranam aveshya samyaka, the pranas to be brought there without any distraction. And with this, all this preparation, one has already been thinking and remembering God constantly and bringing the entire energy of pranas, and the mind also is kept absolutely steady, and one is thinking about or paying attention. See, attention doesn't require thinking. It is thinking helps us to shift our attention, but once that attention is focused on God, then thinking also is dropped. And when one reaches this stage, Bhagavan says, Satam Param Purusham Upayati. The yogi or the seeker attains that Param Purusha, that supreme person, that supreme being. One attains identification, complete oneness with that supreme reality. Tam, which was indicated as Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram, who is Divyam, the divine person, is attained. So this is the final leap. It's like the death of the ego and merging into the supreme. Before one can reach this last stage, one has to practice throughout the life. Keep on practicing, practicing. And then when one is ready, one can take the final leap. Great Mahatmas, great saints of our land, those who have taken this final leap, they are called the realized masters, the Jivan Mukta. And this is possible for every one of us. Potentially, all of us can reach this stage of enlightenment if one follows sincerely this path shown by Bhagavan Krishna. Actually, our problem many times happens when we keep on going sightseeing or going shopping, spiritual shopping. We are not satisfied with one path. We think that other fellow is telling some more secret, or there it is better, or there it is this. Bhagavan Krishna is called Yogeshwar Krishna, is Sakshat Bhagavan. Whatever is said in Bhagavad Gita is the cream. You don't even have to go to the Upanishad. Don't even have to go to any other text. It's the cream. Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopalanandanaha partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdham gitamrutam mahata. That all the Upanishads are like cows, and this Bhagavad Gita is like the milk of that cow. So one has to sincerely study the path shown and just follow. This is a map, the map given, and very good map. Means it has got a GPRS system. Means you wherever you are, is exact location it comes on that Bhagavad Gita. I am here. Exactly you will know where you are after studying, because right from 0 to 100, all the ranges are given here. You can locate yourself exactly. अरे मैं तो यहीं पर हूँ अभी तक. You have to reach a particular point. You have to reach Mount Everest, and all this is given. Like the GPS, as you move, that thing also, that bubble also keeps moving there. You know where you are going. Okay? Similarly, as you proceed and take help of Bhagavad Gita, you will know exactly where you are. Whether you are at the level of Karma Yoga, whether you have to go further into Bhakti, into Jnana, Dhyana, everything will become clear when we sincerely study and follow the guidance given by Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So as I said yesterday, this 9th and 10th verse is very important. The 9th verse shows us the goal and the 10th verse shows us the path. बस और क्या चाहिए? पाथ है, गोल है, चलो. नहीं? You should know where to go and you should know how to go. Where and how is indicated in these two verses. Everything should be over now, but no. Bhagavan knows that many may not have reached the stage where one can take the final leap. So if one has not reached the stage of taking the final leap, what should I do to reach this stage? Kya kare? Bhagavan says, you take the help of my name, Naam. So Naam, and that name is Om. So take help of Om and proceed on this path till you reach the final destination, final door, and then you take the final leap. So Omkar, Upasana, and Omkar, the support of Om, and how we can go about, that Bhagavan now explains in the following verses. It says, 11th verse. Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yad Yatayo Vitaragaha Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatte Padam Sangrahena Pravakshe Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yad Yatayo Vitaragaha Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti. Bhagavan says that Yad Aksharam, I will now tell you about one Akshar, one word. Here Akshar is a word or sound, letter, Akshar. Akshar literal meaning means Akshar is that which doesn't get destroyed, doesn't decay, doesn't perish. So this Akshar, Bhagavan doesn't reveal it in this verse. He doesn't reveal in the next verse also. He reveals in the 13th verse as Om. So here he just points it out. He says that that word or that letter, Yad Aksharam Veda Vido Vadanti, which is spoken by the Vedavit. The knowers of Vedas talk about this Om. Vedas are grand, books of knowledge, of wisdom. Rig Ved, Yajurved, Samaved, Atharvaved. And there are hundreds of mantras are there in these Vedas. But the essence of these Vedas are given in this tiny little Akshar Om. Before we can study Vedas, one has to practice japa of Gayatri Mantra. So when we constantly chant Gayatri Mantra, the mind becomes pure and gets tuned to study the Vedas. And once we study the Vedas, the sar of all the Vedas is conveyed by only one sound, Om. Such a brilliant thing it is. The entire bulk of Veda is put in one sound, Om. Yeah. Nice, na? So if you can't chant the entire Vedas, you just say Om. I should not give you all lazy techniques, but that is true. If you say Om, you have said all the Vedas. You have said everything. You have uttered the very essence of all the scriptures of the world. Pranava sarva vedeshu. Bhagavan says, I am Pranava. In the last chapter we have seen. I am the Om in all the Vedas. So this is the most fascinating sound symbol of God. Actually it's a pratik. It's a image. It's a idol of God, of that Supreme. It is indicated by the sound Om. It is like just like we have murti, we have pictures. This is a sound symbol of God. It also is Bhagwan's name. It is also an indicator of God. It is also a great mantra. So it has got lots of things. So it's one of the most beautiful thing on earth or in the universe, you can say. Oh, it's most fascinating. So Bhagavan, he prepares. He says, I will tell you, but I am telling you in advance because I also became little impatient. So Bhagavan, he tells Arjuna, I will tell you, don't be impatient. First he tells the beauty of this Om and then he reveals that. He said, Yat Aksharam Vedavido Vadanti. Vedavid are the knowers of Vedas, who have understood the very depth and the very essence of Vedas. These are the great rishis who have understood the Vedas. See, even in like we have science and all, and then physics and the subtler physics and subtler science. This verse says that what even Einstein, like his relativity theory, they used to say, I don't know what they say now, they say that only few scientists know what he is saying. Even among scientists, only few scientists actually know, actually can understand and appreciate what Einstein is saying. Similarly, Vedas are many, but only a few great Rishi Munis, they know the essence and the depth of these Vedas. It's like the flowers. One appreciates the beauty of flowers. One appreciates the fragrance of flowers. But only a honeybee understands the depth and the essence of the flower and it picks it up. No other creature can remove that. It removes that nectar from that flower. बाकी उसका खूबसूरती देख के हाँ, such a nice flower, very nice. But only that honeybee can remove that honey from that flower. Similarly, people may appreciate the beauty of the Vedas, the grammar or the other knowledge which is given in the Vedas. But only great rishis, they know the depth. So Bhagavan says, I will tell you what these great knowers of Vedas they say. They have revealed the secret of the Vedas. They have revealed the honey of this Vedic flower. Yad Aksharam Vedavido Vadanti. The knowers of Vedas they say. And Vishanti Yad Yatayo Vitaragaha. And I will tell you that Akshara which is entered into by the great yatis. Yatis means seekers who put forth effort to attain that state of enlightenment, they enter the depth of this akshara. They entered the very core of this akshar, Om, and that which is indicated by Om. See, Om is also a word, a sound which indicates that supreme reality, but it is the closest indicator of that supreme. In Kathopanishad, it is said, it is the Etad alambanam param, etad alambanam shreshtham. Alambanam means support. It talks about Om, that Om is the greatest support and Om is the subtlest support to attain that state of realization. And it is the nearest indicator of that supreme. So he says that I will tell you that akshara which is entered into, means great yogis or great seekers, they enter the depth of this akshara. Vishanti yad yatayo, and which seekers? Vitaragaha, who are totally devoid of all attachment, who have no other desires and no other ambitions and no other goals in life. That which is attained by them, or that into which they enter, which they value so much that they want to dissolve into it, I will tell you that akshara. Hey Arjuna, just keep your whole attention on me, I will reveal that akshara to you. Vishanti yad yatayo vitaragaha. Yad icchanto, and knowing the secret of this akshara, desiring the secret of this akshara, seekers brahmacharyam charanti, they observe this vow of brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means they go to the teacher and stay with the teacher and learn. Gurav charanti. Brahmacharya means brahmani charati, brahmavat charati. One who revels in Brahma, one who behaves like Brahma, one who strives to attain Brahma. All these various meanings are there in the word brahmachari. Literal, sometimes in English they translate it as celibacy, but that alone is not the complete meaning of that word brahmachari. Brahma is that supreme Brahma. Charati, one who walks on the path of Brahma, is called brahmachari. One who has given up all other ambitions and goals and desires and fully committed to attain the state of realization is called brahmachari. Whether he is married, unmarried, this, that, it doesn't matter. One who is fully committed to attain the state of enlightenment is brahmachari. So yad icchantaha, knowing, desiring to know which a person follows this path of brahmacharya, I will tell you that akshara. To understand, see, Om, all of us, we chant. But to understand that Om, one has to approach a master and learn from that master for a long time. Then we will be able to understand the beauty of that Om. It will get revealed with all its beauty. Yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti, tatte padam, that state, that word, or that sound, that letter, I will sangrahena, briefly pravakshe. Sangrahena, briefly. In short, I will indicate that state through this sound symbol, Om. Tatte padam, that state which is attained, I will indicate briefly to you. Tatte padam sangrahena pravakshe. So Bhagavan prepared Arjuna. Because see, when a great master and all comes, or some person comes, before that that pilot car and all comes, no? Before a king comes, a pilot car comes and that all everything is set right and everything is taken